Yep, yep. Yeah, on the way to Manhattan now. Ay, ay, ay.
Any trouble, but of course it was the 50s and times were different. We all ate everybody else's house, and we didn't know whether we were going to have collard greens and black-eyed peas one night, or whether we were going to have kielbasa or shish kebab. It didn't matter because nobody locked their doors, and it was in Northwest DC, and it was a great place to grow up. And I'm pushing 80 years old, and I'll tell you something, it's absolutely disgusting as all these race baiters come in here and have virtually destroyed this country. Just because...
Well, let me tell you something. It is up to... Let me tell you something, Peter, what I love about what you're saying. Guess what? We have a choice as to how we're going to live our lives.
Yeah.
We can live our lives like...
Yeah, can you do the pasta, yeah? Why you not answer the
Live our
phone?
lives like you grew up, Peter.
Do the pasta, tell mama to do the pasta.
This is not the life that I am going to allow.
Your mama need to do the pasta. What?
Race obsession.
Where is mama? Miriam. Yeah. Miriam, can you send me a message?
This is The Rush Hour with Bo Snerdley. Bo Snerdley on 77 WABC. This is the 77 WABC Market Report. I'm James Flippin. U.S. stocks finished higher today, a winning week for Wall Street overall, but gains were held in check today by Google parent Alphabet and AI darling chipmaker NVIDIA as both tech giants slipped for the session. Aside from broader struggles in tech, Bitcoin rose and approaches the long-awaited milestone of $100,000. The S&P manufacturing PMI improved in November and more or less was in line with economists' expectations. The services PMI, or Purchasing Managers Index, exceeded expectations. Consumer sentiment edged lower, but was still slightly better than in October. The University of Michigan's final reading for this month slipped just over a point. The survey notes the expectations index has surged for Republicans and fallen for Democrats. The one-year outlook for inflation slipped to its lowest level since 2020. Finally, Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain computer chip company, getting permission to start clinical trials in Canada. The idea of Neuralink is to help paralyze people control devices with their thoughts. And at the closing bell, the Dow gained 426 points, the S&P 500 up 0.35%, the NASDAQ Composite up 0.16%. That's the market report, and I'm James Flippin. Keep listening for more. This is the 77 WABC Market Report.
Hey, Brooklyn, New York, feeling thirsty for beer, ale, and hard drinks, and feeling thrifty? Recycle all of your bottles and cans at Thrifty Beverage Center, 990 McDonald Avenue. I've been going there for 40 years. Thrifty Beverage Center, NY.com. They deliver directly to your door. Go to ThriftyBeverageCenterNY.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to slow it down. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression. Izervay or avastin-capsid tazol is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection.
The trip now is from JFK to Manhattan. Maybe we'll be now 1 hour.
Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today. Visit Izervay.com.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with Bo Snerdley.
Rush. And everybody, no matter how you feel on this issue, should reject it completely. What are they doing? They're doing this so that Nancy Mace can make a buck and fundraise off the stuff. They're not doing this to protect people. They're endangering women. They're endangering girls of all kinds. And everybody should reject it. It's horrible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, airport exit. Music, no music. No music. Copyright.
Of course, wrote this classic.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents
Rapid Phones. Let's go to Debbie in Westchester County. Debbie, how are you? But this is when the show has to be litigated on some big and understanding states that federal law supersedes state law. So right now, it has to be litigated. We will try. It's going to go to court. And hopefully when they take it to court this time, they can take a definitive slap on this behind. No, they cannot put their own state law above federal law. God willing, we'll be back. Yes, so Suffolk County Police Benevolent Association shine time is 4:59. Police officers are the thin blue line that stand between your family and the criminals that would do them harm. They are your neighbors, protecting your neighborhood. Support law enforcement and stand with the Suffolk County PBA. Go to SuffolkCountyPBA.org today. WABC New York and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
It's 39 degrees and cloudy on this Friday, November 22nd. Good afternoon, I'm Lisa Ritchie. Donald Trump's pick for Education Secretary is being named in a sexual abuse lawsuit. Linda McMahon is the co-chair of Trump's transition team and former president of World Wrestling Entertainment. McMahon is accused of failing to stop a ringside announcer from grooming and sexually abusing children in the 1980s and 90s. The suit claims that McMahon was aware of the credible accusations against the announcer, who has since passed away, and she tolerated them. President-elect Trump is expected to name former Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler as his Secretary of Agriculture. Lisa Taylor has more.
That's according to multiple reports. Loeffler is the co-chair of Trump's second inaugural committee. Went into the Senate in 2019 after the residue placed on the Isaacson. Loeffler served in the Senate. She was the co-owner of the WNBA's Atlanta Dream. I'm Lisa Taylor.
CSCNY is dedicating a plaque today in honor of the Department chaplain who passed away from 9/11 illnesses. Fire Commissioner Robert Tucker was on hand for the ceremony in Rockaway Park, Brooklyn, for Chaplain Monsignor John Belendez.
The innocent God who was left behind in the years that followed were devoted to the 9/11 family and its department. For decades, he was instrumental in the NY ceremony.
Belendez was the 28th year honoring of the fire department, who spent 8 months bringing families to the World Trade Center site and officiating at memorial and funeral services after the 9/11 attacks. Illegal for pet stores across New York State to sell certain kinds of animals. We've got a Holly report. Well, starting December 15th, there will not be any dogs in the windows of New York pet shops. Licensed pet retailers are no longer allowed to sell dogs, cats, and rabbits. Starting large-scale breeding operations where animals are offered abused or neglected. Retail pet stores caught violating that ban received up to $1,000 in fines. Earlier this year, out on Long Island, a pet store called Shake of Law had to pay $300,000 for selling 6 puppies. In North Valley for 77 WABC. Security will be high once again at this year's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Michael Kessler has intel.
Federal authorities say there is no known credible threat against the parade, but the event could be an attractive target for both domestic and foreign terrorists. Authorities have particular concern about people using vehicles to file them into large groups of spectators. This year's parade is expected to draw some 2 million spectators in New York City. I'm Michael Kessler.
Are you still shopping for your Thanksgiving dinner? Time is of the essence. The Mets are giving away 8,500 turkey cities as part of their annual giveaway ahead of Thanksgiving. It's the 10th year in a row that the team has helped those in need through the Amazing Mets Foundation. The foundation is partnering with 20 local community organizations all across the city. In sports, tonight the Nets are playing the 76ers in Philadelphia. NFL star Travis Kelce's watch has been recovered in Rhode Island after an international crime ring burglarized his Kansas City mansion. The Chiefs tight end was included among a string of home burglaries at professional athletes' homes. Your forecast from the Ramsey Mazda Weather Center: scattered showers overnight, low 39. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 52. 39 and overcast outside right now. I'm Lisa Ritchie. Remember the news never stops at WABCRadio.com.
Welcome to the 5 o'clock show. It's time for Common Sense. Now, it's Standing Coffee with John Catsimatidis and Rita Coffee. Standing for truth, justice, and the American way. Bringing common sense to the world. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Coffee.
Like, share, subscribe.
Denver has made a statement to law enforcement that he doesn't care what they say, they're not deporting any of his people.
You know, John, what's incredible, this is Denver Democrat
Like,
Mayor
share,
Mike Johnson
subscribe.
saying that there will be a public protest, and he's equating it to Tiananmen Square. Like it's the freedom fighters protecting the criminal migrants.
The Democratic governor of Arizona is saying, you're not deporting any of my people. We need to vote. I didn't say that.
That's what she meant to say. You know, I know. And guess what? Also, don't forget Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker's in there. The mayor of Boston's in there. And they said, John, get this. This is from this Denver mayor. This is the most incredible statement. He said, if law enforcement comes in there and tries to take migrants, there will be 50,000 people, including a whole bunch of moms. Guess what? I think if there's a criminal, I think the moms are going to be handing them over.
And in Tiananmen Square, are they going to be importing protesters from there?
They might. They very with the tanks.
My strong suggestion is that the mayor of Denver talks to a good criminal lawyer about Title 18 U.S.C. Section 2. Aiding and abetting. Take this guy out in handcuffs.
And by the way, later on in the show, we are going to be talking with Andy McCarthy about the use of military, what the military can and cannot do. At minimum, you would think somebody who's got a rap sheet, John, especially convicted criminal migrants. We're talking people convicted of murder or sex offenses. I think a lot of people will happily hand them over. Don't you think, John?
Absolutely.
Give me a... By the way, today, I want to mention we have in studio with us, of course, former head of the New York office of the FBI on many years, the great George Venizelos, and also Governor Patterson and Judge Richard Weinberg, as always.
Great to be here. We have a great crew here. Well, George, Venizelos, you're one of your former FBI guys, Rogers, is not going to head the FBI. Yeah. Tell us what you feel about that.
I thought he would have been a good choice. We got to know him a little here, and he's really level-headed person. He was in the FBI one time, so he changed the FBI. He was in Congress committee. He had a really good, strong background to do it. But I guess others thought otherwise. That's the problem.
Yeah, Mike Rogers, who we've had here on the
For the ninth time this week, I agree with Judge Weinberg that he was saying they were supposed to do a job they didn't. They're not supposed to disobey an order or contradict an order. And we were the ones who were looking through the underworld drawer of the system.
That was supposedly the FBI, according to the former person. Again, they were ordered to do it, and listen, all this specifically underwear. I'm sure that. I'm kidding.
But Richard Taylor, NYPD, one of the best chiefs in the NYPD, and he does a great job. And I just want to say, Richard Taylor, you do a great job. Thank you for everything for the people. And he's also a great supporter of the town. Did you see what President Biden yesterday showed at the White House? He came out and he first lost his Celtics. He was applauding them on the big win, and then he said Celtics. And then he said, forget to remember it was Boston Celtics. And then he said, wait a minute, Celtics, that's tremendous. He says, that's like what the Soviet
You'll remember it.
Quite incredible. Who thought of that, George?
It just shows that it's time for him to move on.
Yeah, and in fact, who's it? Ace Silver, the pollster was suggesting maybe they should move him out and put in Kamala Harris as the last year.
That means strong compassion work.
That would be a really great. Speaking of words, before we move on, I want to bring up this smoking train de Aragua. This is this Venezuelan gang guy who gets busted, and he was doing so in lascivious things in the home of an assistant DA. He works under Brad. I mean, his mind is pretty quirky every day. And he is laughing and smiling and laughing. I mean, these people have no regard. This is not the reason. Thank goodness in this case, right?
Good to have.
Yeah, so forget it. No bail, one way, go to jail, right?
Go to remand. No bail, urine,
You know, it's called what that Smurf was saying. And the one that's in the country.
So hopefully he's been long enough to be able to start taking power. The question is, if they decide to come back, then they get mandatory periods in jail for
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Who is in the building? Is anybody in the building? Let me see who's in the building. Yep. Jonathan C. Dr. Ray, what's up? Wade Braxton. I see you, Dr. Ray, I see you. Lord De Silva. Armando Marcos De Silva. Yep.
I think he thinks that by putting off the sentencing, it puts off the appeal. But if
Rain, go away, come back
give the defendant the right to seek to dismiss, and let's assume he doesn't dismiss. At that point, the question is, do they have a right to appeal that even before the sentencing? I have to tell you, if they try to stop Trump from appealing his conviction for 4 years, then he'll bring what's called a writ of mandamus, and there will be a determination as to whether or not the conviction is valid. It is not valid for two reasons. Number one, there's no crime. That's the most important reason. Number two, the Supreme Court's immunity decision requires at the very least a new trial without admitting any testimony of people, what was said during his presidency. Of course, he can't be tried while he's president. So, I don't know whether Marshawn just wants to keep this hanging over his head like a sword of Damocles so that every nation in the world can say, oh, president, that he's been convicted. No, I want them to be able to say he's the president and his conviction was reversed on appeal. That's the way it should be. And I'm hoping that the courts, the appellate courts in New York will say not only is this case being dismissed, it never should have been brought in the first place because there is no crime. I would be disappointed if they just threw it out on the immunity. I want them to throw it out on the ground that Greg made a fundamental miscarriage of justice by even bringing this case. By the way, the same thing is true of the Penny case. Now, he should never have brought that Penny case, but that at least has a basis. But the Trump case has no basis whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's amazing if you look at the fate of the other ones. So what is this? Because Bragg sounds like he's going to continue it. He has this chance to do the counterfiling, and it sounds like Bragg wants to continue it until the president gets out of the White House.
Bragg's strategy is to keep the sentence over his head for the 4 years. That's the strategy.
That's unconstitutional.
I agree.
When the Constitution talks about a speedy trial, it means a whole trial. And trials at common law included every remedy, including an appeal. So he's entitled under the Constitution to a speedy appeal as well. And 4 years is the opposite of a speedy appeal. So I guarantee with 100% certainty, I make a lot of predictions, almost all of them come true, but I never say with 100% certainty. This one I say with 100% certainty. If the courts say that he has no right to appeal because the sentence has been delayed for 4 years, that will be reversed. No court will ultimately accept, not the Supreme Court, not the New York Court of Appeals, a ruling which holds a sentence over somebody's head for 4 years while he's president. Unthinkable.
Alan, I want to raise the arrest warrants that came out of the International Criminal Court against the former defense minister in Israel as well as the prime minister. I mean, what is that about? First of all, Israel is not even a member of the International Criminal Court. There's no jurisdiction here. The whole thing was set up by Iran using South Africa. This is one of the most awful miscarriages I've ever heard of.
You're right. And South Africa today has become one of the worst countries in the world. I worked with South Africa. I worked with Nelson Mandela. I spoke in South Africa. I was banned in South Africa. Trying to speak at Wits University at the graduation because I wouldn't submit my speech, which was against apartheid. So I had very good connections with Mandela's South Africa. Now it's become a horrible, horrible country. And for them to bring charges of genocide, there's so much genocide going on in so many parts of the world, and to accuse Israel, which has had a much better concern for civilian casualties than any other country of genocide, is outrageous, and I think ultimately it will be thrown out. But this is a court that's not known for its objectivity. It's the same thing with the International Court of Justice, the same thing with the United Nations. International groups today have become the enemies of human rights. That's true of the all these Soros-sponsored organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, and all of those things have become instruments of the left against the United States, against Israel, and against any countries that aren't woke, politically correct, and progressive.
And what's amazing? As we're talking, Professor Dershowitz,
Yeah.
what's incredible to me is you've got Justin Trudeau and these other countries saying
They can honor it and enforce it.
I mean, what is that? And UK is one of them. There's a whole bunch. You can't travel to Europe. You can't go to
what's
Canada.
the remedy? What's the remedy then for the two officials that had the warrants against them?
Well, when the previous head of the Israeli Air Force, Yadlin, had warrants issued against him and he was going to England, he retained me, obviously free of charge. I did it. And I said, if he gets arrested, we're going to assemble, I'll defend him. And, Bibi's not going to travel to any of these countries. Can you imagine what the image would look like if the German police arrested the Prime Minister of Israel? It's outrageous, but Europe is falling into this trap. The only country in Europe that's inviting him to come is Hungary. And the United States, of course, but the idea that Canada, I mean, I worked with Pierre Trudeau, his father. I worked with him on human rights when Pierre Trudeau suspended human rights in Canada after the FLQ killings back in the 1970s. I worked with his father, who was a great man. He was a law professor. We had a lot in common. His son has become, a left-wing thug. He could be on the five. He all he does is follow the hard left, and hopefully he'll be defeated because the head of the Conservative Party in Canada has been very supportive of Israel and would never dream of arresting Netanyahu. Of course, Netanyahu has gone to Canada many times to speak to Jewish organizations, and these arrest warrants also deny the First Amendment rights of people all over the world who want to hear from these two. And there's no basis for the arrest warrants at all. And I would hope that wiser heads would prevail. But, it's all up to Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer has been the one who stopped the Senate from passing a statute that the House has passed, which would impose sanctions on the International Criminal Court if they issue arrest warrants. It's Chuck Schumer, Shomer Yisrael, the man who's supposed to be the guardian of Israel. He is single-handedly preventing this statute from being enacted by the Senate and becoming the law of the land. Maybe
Senator Thune has already said that if Schumer won't get the bill passed by the end of this year, the first thing he's going to do when the Republicans control the Senate.
Yeah, and of course, if Schumer did get it passed, Biden might veto it, because the rumor is that Biden told Schumer not to allow it to get out of the Senate. So, people ask me all the time, how have I stopped being a Democrat? Duh. Read the newspapers. Read that 19 U.S. senators have tried to disarm Israel. And that J Street, this anti-Israel organization that pretends to be a pro-organization, put the senators up to it and encouraged them and paid them and gave them campaign contributions in order to turn against Israel. So, no, I'm not a Democrat anymore. I can't be part of a party that wants to destroy the nation state and the Jewish people.
All right. Well, Professor Dershowitz, thank you. We love having you here on the show. Thank you very, very much.
Good. Everybody have a good weekend.
Thank you. Absolutely. Wow. And everybody, after the break, we're going to be talking to investigative journalist Jenny Tare. She has some huge scoops on how the Biden administration is actually making it easier for migrants to be unvetted and teeing it up, making it worse for President Trump when he comes in. That after the break.
And now, with another business success story, here's Joe Conway.
Jill Burkhardt of Long Island's famous North Shore Animal Shelter is one of this year's award winners from the New York Marketing Club. I asked for her marketing advice for business owners.
You have to do a lot of testing, so test small, and you can win big and roll out with something even better. Keep testing it because things are constantly changing, and find what resonates.
Another award winner, Alan Kraft of Bin 113 Marketing, features people in marketing wineries.
The clients that we're working with are third and fourth and even fifth generation farmers
they're really making something, and they really have their hands in the dirt.
And why did you name your current company BIN 113?
Well, BIN is an acknowledged term in the wine space, and 113 is my favorite equation in business. It stands for 1 + 1 = 3.
For more on growing a successful business, go to WABCRadio.com/Joe. I'm Joe Connolly, 77 WABC News.
Rita Cosby here. Police Sergeant Christopher David Fitzgerald of the Temple University Police Department sustained fatal gunshot wounds while attempting to arrest a robbery suspect. Thanks to caring friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to provide a mortgage-free home to his wife Marissa and their 5 children in honor of their forever hero. Christopher's love for law enforcement was inspired by his parents, who both proudly served as Philadelphia police officers. Prior to his premature passing, Christopher was nominated for Temple University Police Department Officer of the Year. Sadly, it's an award that he would receive posthumously. Christopher was a great father, husband, brother, and son who is so very missed. He will be remembered by many for his passion and determination to make his own name in life while improving conditions for residents in the surrounding community and Temple University stakeholders. It's heroes like Christopher who protect...
In Bitcoin. Is the Federal Reserve Bank going to guarantee Bitcoin?
Nope. Of course, the Fed doesn't guarantee anything, including the dollar, so, or the dollar bill. But look,
in God we trust.
And cryptocurrencies are here to stay. And it's interesting. The dollar's gotten stronger in the last couple of weeks. Gold has gotten weaker. Commodities have gotten weaker. So it's a very euphoric, very positive view, still carrying over from the election of November 5th. So today, what's today? Today's the 20th, so 15 days, 2 weeks plus. So, you know, and I think as Trump gets his cabinet together, they're going to get off to a running start. And I've interviewed a bunch of senators on the show, including this evening. And I think, and I hope that they go to tax cuts first. The very first thing they need to do is go to tax cuts, make sure that the middle class coalition can increase their take-home pay, and they can afford, cars and homes and groceries, because that was the biggest single issue in this campaign. So I hope they go to tax cuts first.
Absolutely. I spoke to Mario Gabelli today. He feels that interest rates are going to stay up next year.
Actually, I think the Fed at the meeting next month is going to pause, as they should. I don't think they should have been, that jumbo rate cut was a mistake. I think they're jumping too soon. There's still a sticky inflation out there. Even the year-to-year inflation is still running at 2.5% to 3%. The target is 2%. So I think Mario's right. I can't say for the whole year, but I will say in front of us, I think Jay Powell's going to have to say mea culpa, no more policy rate cuts. The market, as you know, the bond market sold off after the jumbo rate cut, and it's sort of leveled off at just under 4.5%. But we'll see about the whole outlook for next year. But right now, stocks which love growth, which breeds profit, tax cuts are good for profits. It's good for wages too. So I think that's the biggest story. I mean, really, and the Bitcoin story. Sorry, John.
I couldn't believe the Bitcoin. It was like almost watching a horse race, trying to hit 100,000.
No, listen, a lot of people were very surprised, okay? But it's gone up about 35% just in the last couple weeks. And Trump is in favor of cryptocurrencies, and there'll be much less draconian regulation on cryptocurrencies, because the SEC was trying to slam down crypto. The Treasury doesn't like it, the Fed doesn't like it, but I think that's going to change.
Well, Larry Kudlow, have a happy Thanksgiving. You're going to be on tomorrow between 10 and 1 o'clock on WABC?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And that's Saturday's best show.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, you too.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
And Rita, you have some hot news to tell us about?
It's the top news of the day, sponsored by Goya. Here's Rita Cosby.
Well, there is always hot news here, John, on Cats and Cosby. As we were talking about the top President-elect Trump's so-called hush money case, sentencing.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah. Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, so were you able to check out the videos that I sent a few moments?
Yeah, I see it's kind of, not much showing. It just show windows. It's, yeah, I saw the video. Yeah, I'm just curious to see it. No any obligation, just, the situation to see. But there's not much. Also, it's like the 200 West 19. It's like window to the backyard, and I don't know. It's much lighting. You know what floor is it? Second floor, maybe.
Yeah, it's the second floor.
It's not the ground floor.
This one does have, a lot better of a view into the courtyard space. It's a lot larger courtyard. So I think that would contribute to more light, and especially the light in the door. It's a very small and again, for the price of light, especially here in Chelsea, it's
I saw one on 155 East 31 8B, something like that. Did you see that? I sent you a picture.
Yeah, I told you.
What is
I
it?
told you about that one. I actually just got off the phone with the listing agent because I put it on for a client, and basically there was offers that all came in at about the same price for that apartment,
21, yeah.
No, it's 30.
Oh, that's also it's not the one. Okay, but yeah, condo, high-rise building. But the last list you sent me, there's many stuff less than 400, the 500. I mean, it's a long list.
In 1,000 feet, exit right, then stay to the left.
So you can see there's not many options. But if you go north of Hell's Kitchen, you're going to find some options.
Exit right 2 exits 11 east west of Jewel Avenue,
Merrill
69th Road. Then stay to the left to exit 11W, 69 Road West.
Even if the no go permit doesn't
Stay to the left to exit 11W, 69 Road West. Then use the right lane to stay to the right to exit 11W, 69th Road West.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over the list again. Basically, I want the sunlight, good location, and good deal.
Yes, I do think you might find interest in a condo hotel. I mean, making $40,000 off a year on your investment, and not having to do a fee is very attractive.
Yeah.
So, you know, I am, you're not, public schedule should be, or if we get in there, this Sunday to use, reach out to the management to see if we're able to reserve the apartment this Sunday, so I'll keep you posted on that. But, also, basically, I'm gonna get back to the other one, unit 2029. Let's see, basically, if you were to take a portion of it, you go down, you know, 15 minutes per left, basically, the same access. So, it is the price, it could be your route,
Use the right lane to exit right 2 exits 10 EW, I-495, Long Island Expressway toward Eastern Long Island, Manhattan. Then use the left lane to stay to the left to exit 10W,
So I'm gonna
I-495
be
west
down.
toward Midtown Tunnel, Manhattan.
Down.
Use the left lane to stay to the left to exit 10W, I-495 west toward Midtown Tunnel, Manhattan.
Be down like I have to pay out my pocket. Oh no,
In half a mile, use the right lane to take exit 90, Flushing Meadows, Corona Park toward BJK Tennis Center.
future investment, I think it makes a lot of sense. But for now, if I wanted to take that risk and invest in this company,
yeah, there's another agent he want to show me tomorrow. I think tomorrow Sunday. What do you call it? That
In
place.
1,000 feet,
Dominic.
exit right, then turn
Should I
right.
wait for you or just go with the other agent? Or it doesn't matter?
Corona Park toward BJK Tennis Center.
Yeah, alright, so I'll stick to you. I'll just start the other agent. I don't have time.
Turn right on Meridian Road. Then turn left on Grand Central Parkway East toward Eastern Long Island.
No, just surfing around all kinds of Zero or Realtor, all kinds of looking around to see what out there, and then take a selfie, a picture, and screenshot and to send it to you to ask you what about this or what about that. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just, at the end of the day, I would appreciate it if you would just be honest, because I am down to go.
Yeah. But I can take screenshot other places and send you and ask you what about this or what about that. That's what I'm doing. So because I'm doing that, they keep calling me. But I'm gonna stick to you because you're working with me now.
I appreciate that. And other than that, I would hear which apartments that you are interested in based off of tonight's situation. So if you can review those as I can tomorrow.
In 700 feet, use the left lane to turn left. Then stay to the left.
We're gonna have to give them 24 hours to answer.
Yeah, okay. I take my time and let me know when availability, and we will see.
Brooklyn, he cut his ankle monitor. And so clearly this system is already problematic, but then you take away at least the idea of accountability, and it just continues to show how the Biden administration, contrasting with what's coming from people like Donald Trump, of course, and his border czar, Tom Homan, I mean, they're trying to really lay down a hammer, and, you know, some of this may make it more difficult for them. It may be a tough battle when they can come in to reverse some of these things.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is incredible to make it easier at a time where we're overwhelmed, and also the Trump administration coming in with that mandate from America on this saying enough. Jenny Tier, thank you. Great reporting. Keep us posted on some great and very important scoops. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, that's amazing. You know, Judge Weinberg, when you hear this, that they're making it easier, A, to get here through this app, and then also easier to not be surveilled. I mean, that's, is there anything else Biden could do in his last, what is it, how many days is it left, John?
Every day is another disaster.
I mean, come on.
Every day with the sky is another disaster.
It is incredible. Well, joining us now is a former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, Andy McCarthy. Andy, what are the rights, first off, of citizens to be safe? I have a whole bunch of layers I want to ask you, but the judge always cites, what is it,
18 U.S.C. Section 2, Andy.
See, he says it in his sleep. Okay.
Aiding and abetting. Aiding and abetting, right. Yeah, I've heard of that one, Judge.
Yeah, I see.
Great comments on it too, Andy.
What can be done when you hear this? There's a new thing today, Andy. This Denver mayor has come out, Mayor Mike Johnston, saying don't even think of stepping 1 foot into Denver, and he's equating it like the people fighting against, deportation are like Tiananmen Square. They're freedom fighters. By the way, those people in Tiananmen Square were heroes, and I would think a lot of people in Denver want convicted criminal migrants with serious offenses out of their community.
Use the left lane to turn left on 114th
Look, I
Street.
think Tom
Then
Homan
use the left
was
lane to stay to the
completely
left
right
to Grand
this week
Central Parkway
when
East.
he pointed out that it's a federal felony punishable by, depending on the circumstances, beginning 5 and up to 20 years imprisonment to harbor illegal aliens. So what Homan did was warn the Democratic officials in the sanctuary cities. He wasn't talking about the Denver guy. He was talking about the mayor of Boston. What's her name? Michelle Wu?
Yeah, Michelle Wu. Yep.
Right. So he was saying, look, the law does not require you to help us, but it's a crime to obstruct us. So it's one thing if they don't want to help the federal authorities, but if they do anything to positively interfere with their ability to carry out immigration law, they should be prosecuted, because the law of the land is if the Constitution gives the federal government authority to act in an area, then the supremacy clause of the Constitution says the states have to stand down. And they are not allowed, this is federal law, long-standing federal law, which says, among other things, emphatically and unambiguously, that illegal aliens who cross into the United States are supposed to be detained until the conclusion of their removal proceedings. So Biden has done all this stuff, which I just heard your last guest, and it's absolutely correct to say all of this stuff is made up. The act is made up, the parole is made up. That is not the law of the United States. These people
Use the left lane to stay to the left to
Yeah,
Grand
great
Central
point. Everybody, we're
Parkway
talking to
East.
the former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District, Andy McCarthy. Andy, we have George Venizelos, who was head of the FBI New York office for many, many years. George.
Hey, Andy, I can't agree with you more. I mean, obstruction of justice is right on top of the list with that. Besides citing a potential riot or something like that, by trying to rally these people around to resist arrest. It's a federal law, like you said. It's a federal law. The federal law trumps it. You break the federal law, you break the federal law. Who is the mayor trying to impede an investigation or an arrest? It's bizarre. It really is.
Yeah, George, what would you guys have done back in the day, if you get told that you're doing a organized crime investigation, and you're like, you have to do an operation on a gambling thing or a prostitution thing, and the local police came and said, you guys, the feds, scram, because we're not enforcing those laws here.
Exactly.
How many seconds would it have taken for the FBI to explain the fact of life to them?
How many seconds, George? What would you have done, honestly?
A second. I mean, I think, for these politicians to start, being above the law and telling people they're above the law, it's ridiculous. And this is why these cities, these cities are starting to have a lot of problems because of these politicians and these DAs in these big cities.
And by the way, I have one better, you guys. Denver, Tren de Aragua put out a notice it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, saying they wanted Denver to be their headquarters for that Venezuelan gang. And Denver's right by Aurora, where they had those apartment buildings with the guys that look like
machine guns.
Rita, they say in Venezuela the skiing is really great.
But they may want to go to the slopes to get away from there, I'm telling you. Governor Patterson.
When I sit here and I listen to this, I could close my eyes and go back, say, 60 years to the actions that had to be taken by the federal government to desegregate communities in the South, when their leaders were saying exactly the same thing that the mayor of Denver is saying now and that these other people are saying, and they don't realize that they are actually copying the type of conduct in this country that we got rid of years ago, like the lines by iambic pentameter, thin partitions do their walls divide.
Wow, whatever that means, that was wonderful.
Yeah, that sounded great. Can you translate for us, Andy, please?
Well, the governor is speaking about something that there's a rich history in the United States of that actually goes back even further than what Governor Patterson is referring to the nullification crisis during the Andrew Jackson administration.
Calhoun, right?
South Carolina.
Senator Calhoun.
George Weinberg.
Andy, I want to turn your attention to actually a very controversial and interesting question. Does the President of the United States and the federal government have the right to use the United States military to remove illegal aliens? I don't think it's a settled question, is it?
But I don't see why. Well, they certainly would have the right because with power, because the federal constitution makes the federal government responsible for guaranteeing each state civil peace, and protection from invasion. So implicit in that is if you have a bunch of aliens who are not authorized to be in the United States, whether they present as an actual formal military or not, the federal government has the obligation to protect the states from that. And if it's necessary to call out the armed forces to do that, obviously it's necessary.
There was a lower court that said, it's interesting, I was looking at it today, there was a lower court that said they don't have the right, but better scholars have said it's really an open question. The Supreme Court has never expressly ruled on that. I think you're absolutely right. I think they can use the military force, not just the backup, but to actually use them to remove these people.
Well, the whole federal authority over immigration has been implied by courts from the government's sovereignty when it comes to border matters, because President Trump lets down, it's the president's obligation to bring to bear whatever force the United States needs to bring to bear to protect that.
I agree with that. Governor Walker said yesterday,
Delivery.
That he's going to use whatever powers he has to make sure that the Texas border is sealed.
Yeah, and also he's going to have like on 1,400. He's going to have like acres where he's going to put his detention, sort of like a weigh station.
He's going to use it, give it to the federal government to use.
Yeah,
so, I mean, Biden's not going to judge the clothes to come strangers up. Well, who knows?
Look, there was never this tension until the Obama years. It has always been that the states can enforce their laws as long as they're consistent with Congress's laws. And
Then
for
use
that
the
reason,
left
we
lane
had
to stay
no
to the
big
left.
tension
Horace
on this
Harding
issue. But
Expressway,
when
Service
Obama
Road.
came in,
Tunnel.
he said the states were not only bound by federal law,
Use the
but
left
by
lane to stay to the
administration
left. Horace
policy.
Harding
And
Expressway,
therefore, if
Service
the
Road.
administration decided it wasn't going to enforce federal law, the states couldn't do it either. So what Obama was basically saying to these states was, we won't enforce the laws, and you can't enforce the laws. And Justice Scalia pointed out in the Arizona case that if that had been on the table at the time that they were negotiating whether to adopt the Constitution or not, the delegates of the states would have run out of the room and never ratified never adopted the Constitution. Nobody would have went along with that.
Also, I would think at the least you could deputize military.
In half a
I
mile,
think so.
use the
Yeah,
left
that's
lane to stay to the left.
but you know what, Andy, what
I-495
Tom
west,
Homan was
Long
saying
Island
earlier this
Expressway
week
toward
was
Manhattan.
that the military he thought would be used more for like infrastructure and like making and maybe like playing a role with this place that like Governor Abbott was talking about, sort of this. Is that sort of where you see them playing a role? And look, what is this Denver mayor going to do? He's going to go crazy on anything.
Yeah, but Rita, look, I think some of what we're talking about is like sort of academic legal issues, like what is the extent of the federal power. But I think, Tom Homan's an old law enforcement guy, like I'm an old law enforcement guy, like George was an old law enforcement guy. We don't like the idea of the military having to get into the enforcement business.
Right.
And if we can avoid that and have this be a law enforcement issue that you manage with whatever backup you need from the military in the way of support, everybody would prefer that than to see the military using weapons on our territory. Nobody wants to see that.
And also, it's no different than in the subways now. You have National Guard down there. But National Guard plays our military, right? The military.
Right. Yeah, and that's mainly their
deterrent.
It's a roll-up effect, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, Andy, thank you very, very
Thank you,
much.
Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. And thank you, Andy. When we come back, you had a great conversation, John, with Senator Ron Johnson, talking about a whole bunch of big issues, including the border, Ukraine, a whole bunch more. We're going to talk about that.
The whole conversation on Sunday, but we have a little bit tidbit today.
Awesome. We're going to play that after the break and a lot more here on Katz and Cosby.
And now, Janine Pirro sounds off.
So there's still a question as to whether or not you get to keep the engagement ring if the romance turns sour and you never make it to the altar.
More after this.
This is Judge Janine Pirro with an important message. A mom and her son were being followed by a man in a parking lot. As he approached their car, she pulled out her Berna launcher, and the sight of it was enough to make him flee. Berna gives you the power to protect your family without lethal force. No permits, no background check, just peace of mind. Visit Berna.com and use code Janine for 10% off. Remember, Berna isn't legal in New York City or Yonkers. Stay safe, stay prepared with Berna.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brett Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. While on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brett's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. In that instant, his life changed forever. The blast left Brett a T4 paraplegic with other catastrophic injuries. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at
Yes, it's tonight. Like a good deal.
Massachusetts High Court just decided that the engagement ring must belong to the person who purchased it.
Turn right on 108th Street. Then turn right on Horace Harding Expressway, Service Road.
Massachusetts, they've been involved in trying to determine who was at fault, why they didn't get to the altar. You keep it. That's it. It's a conditional gift, conditional.
In 500 feet, turn left.
Doesn't happen, you get it back. End of that.
Let me get some gasoline and some benzina.
In 500 feet, turn left on Waldron Street. Turn right on Horace Harding Expressway, Service Road.
goodness. No beers, only soup.
Choice for Attorney General. And joining us is someone who knows President Trump really, really well. Our friend, of course, he hosts a great show on WABC Radio, Roger Stone. Roger, what do you make of these moves? First of all, Pam Bondi and some of the other grumblings that I just talked about.
Well, I'm very pleased with the selection of Pam Bondi. I was actually with her last night at Mar-a-Lago and spoke to her for quite a while. Tulsi Gabbard was also present, as was Linda McMahon, another great appointment, as you know, a Connecticut fellow, native of Connecticut like myself, and appointed Secretary of Education. Linda told me the president offered her Port St. James, ambassador to the UK, which is considered the most prestigious ambassadorship. She declined because she wants to be here in the fight for men's schools. So I admire Linda enormously. She's a good friend. Everybody, Pam Bondi is a terrific choice. She's just as tenacious and just as tough as Matt Gaetz, but I think she had an easier conversation.
In a quarter of a mile, use the left lane to stay to the left to I-495 West, Long Island Expressway toward Manhattan.
There is now an issue of distraction from the president.
cold outside. So cold case. Cold case. Home sweet home. This is late edition today.
They're moving forward to replace the
Super
portable
late
bus terminal
edition.
in Midtown Manhattan. The New York City Council unanimously approved building a state-of-the-art transit facility in place of the 73-year-old bus depot. New Jersey commuters are giving their input.
Too small for people to wait and sit. People sometimes need to charge their phone. A couple more stores that they can put in here and stuff like that. More bathrooms that are open early in the morning. More restaurants or maybe food outlets.
It could take 10 years to complete the two-phase project. Shots rang out near a high-rise on White Plains Road in the Soundview section of the Bronx just after 3 this afternoon, injuring a police officer and the suspect. The officer suffered minor injuries. The suspect was shot in the leg. The suspect is believed to be a gang member with a lengthy rap sheet. In sports tonight, the Nets are playing the 76ers in Philadelphia. And your forecast from the Ramsey Mazda Weather Center tonight. Some scattered showers. It'll be chilly with a low around 38 degrees. Tomorrow looks partly cloudy, a little bit more seasonable with a high of 52 degrees. And for Sunday, to round out your weekend, partly cloudy skies, again getting more temperate with a high of 55 degrees. We have 39 degrees with some light rain outside of our Midtown studios right now. I'm Lisa Ritchie. Remember, the news never stops at WABCRadio.com.
Now broadcasting from the underground cement tunnel, with the bowels of the hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Yep. Use it or lose it. That's how it's worked. Use it or lose it.
Stay to the left, I-495 West, Long Island Expressway toward Manhattan.
Manhattan. Police.
Use the left lane to stay to the left, I-495 West, Long Island Expressway toward Manhattan.
Manhattan.
released
Speed
on
camera
hip-hop this
reported
year.
ahead.
I mean, I feel like the
Speed
album could really be
camera.
titled I Said What I Said, because that's all that he's really doing throughout this whole album. The song Man at the Garden, for example, is basically like a reference and maybe even an interpolation of Phil Collins in the Air.
Use the left 2 lanes to stay to the left to East 37th Street.
And ends with Kendrick just going ballistic.
In 600 feet, turn left on Lexington Avenue.
I imagine that there are more surprises, like beyond the surprise that there was even an album release today. Yeah?
Yeah, of course. So he works with some familiar names in production, you know, like Soundwave, DJ Dahi. But there's some big surprises too. Jack Antonoff contributes a lot of co-production.
Wait, is he the producer for Taylor Swift?
Exactly. Best known for his production work with the likes of Taylor Swift, Lana Del Rey, Lord. But yeah, he's coming to Kendrick's out on this one. But there's also
Turn left on Lexington Avenue.
going through certain songs on the album. You feel this softer strain that's kind of bubbling underneath this hard, dark exterior that he has. It almost feels like it's a new template that Kendrick's setting for where he wants hip-hop, you know, and specifically like masculinity in hip-hop to go. After he's done burning it down.
That is NPR's Rodney Carmichael. Thank you so much, Rodney.
Thank you,
You're listening to All Things Considered from NPR News.
And some that will be right by the Marketplace is next. On the show tonight, the U.S. is currently facing a shortage of nurse midwives. There are nurses who are specifically registered to provide pregnancy care, which includes delivering babies.
For us to be able to start really changing the data on disparities between care, the people to do it are the nurse midwives.
Look at one school that is training nurse midwives and the consequences of dwindling access to maternal care. That's next on Marketplace. We'll be back. All things considered at 7. It's 6:30. WNYC is supported by Rifleman and Robinson LLP, a full-service national law firm dedicated to its representation of clients across industries. More information at mrllp.com.
In half a mile, turn right on East 25th Street.
Station is WNYC 93.9 FM, AM 820, NPR News, and the New York Conversation.
Reddy at Politico, and Courtney Brown at Axios here with us. Hey, you two.
Hi, Kristen.
Hey, Kristen. Hello, hello. Well, it was a big week for retail earnings. Ahead of a big week for retail, there was Walmart, Target, Lowe's, The Gap, all reported. Courtney, what do you think what they have to say tells us about where holiday spending might be headed?
Something really unsatisfying.
Turn left on Park Avenue South.
We kind of got divergent narratives about the state of the U.S. consumer
things are going to start to weaken, and I think that makes it really difficult. It makes it possible that Walmart could be right and Target could be right.
A little bit of both. Well, maybe we could turn to consumer sentiment numbers that we got an update on today then. We got the November revised consumer sentiment numbers, which are on the up and up, and a big bullet point here is that sentiment was split by party. Democrats are more likely to feel bad about the economy, Republicans are more likely to feel good. And I want to know, Sadiq, what that tells us about what Courtney was just talking about. And also, if we are so fickle, does consumer sentiment even matter?
What just happened at election 2 weeks ago, that's what just happened, and that's this has been one of these, the last few election cycles, one of these enduring features of consumer sentiment, that the national mood is so tied up with who is running the White House that these numbers shift in some direction within weeks of the election, sometimes within days. We'll know with some of these gauges next month. There's a saying when you look at consumer sentiment, watch what consumers do, not what they say. And this is a clear indication that job market is still quite healthy, layoffs are low. There's no reason to expect that consumers are going to pull back on their spending, even if they feel a little.
Playing checkers. Mama think. Go, Mama, go.
I need to tell you something. You're not allowed to eat the cake.
Not allowed to eat the cake.
Mama, you can eat me. Mama, you can eat me. Mama, you can eat me.
Mama drama. This is so crazy. Manhattan is so crazy.
In 800 feet, use the right 3 lanes to stay to the right to 5th Avenue. Then turn right.
Well, one tomato coming up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your cooperation. Yep. It's a restaurant. A car that thinks that they are a restaurant is just a piece of car.
The king can only go one time.
Who is in the building? Is anybody in the building? 15 people right in the building. Represented. rules and regulations. Rules and regulations. Limited edition, be dialing. Late edition, be dialing. Pizza, pizza. Pizza, pizza. Limited edition, be dialing. And regulation, good medicine. Ay, ay.
Speed camera reported ahead.
Yeah, here you go. One tomato. Long line. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow. Peace and love. Peace and love. Tomorrow we're going to Rise NY Museum. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Peace and love. Peace and love.